Call the meeting to order, the South Brunswick Board of Education. For the people at home, we are live at Crossroads North Middle School. Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the salute of the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting the interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the board secretary has caused notice of this meeting, including date, time, and location, to be posted in South Brunswick Public Library and the board office, filed with the township clerk, and communicated to the Home News Tribune and Star Ledger. Mr. Pawlowski, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Raja Krishna.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond Keener.
Present.
Mrs. Joyce Mehta.
Here.
Mr. Mike Mitchell.
Present.
Dr. Stephen Parker.
Yeah.
Dr. Smita Raj.
Present.
Mrs. Lisa Rogers.
Here.
Mr. Joseph Scaletti.
Here.
Mr. Barry Nathanson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Can I get a approval of tonight's agenda, please? Moved by Dr. Parker. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Keener. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Moving along to the minutes of January 21st, 2021. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Mr. Keener. I have a second. Second by Dr. Parker. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Mitchell. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Executive minutes of January 21st, 2021. Got a motion. Moved by Dr. Parker. Second by Mr. Keener. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay, moving along. Mr. Pawlowski, is Zoya on the Zoom call?
Yes, she is.
Okay. Moving to the report of the student representative. Zoya, how are you?
I'm good. I hope everyone had a great day and everyone is having a good night so far. So today I'm going to be starting off my report with an announcement about subject area honor societies. So the forms will be out next week on March 3rd and they will be due by March 22nd. This year, once again, the forms will be available online and they will be posted on the senior and junior Google Classrooms. So students who were previously admitted do not need to apply. Your file will simply be reviewed to make sure that you are still eligible. People who are planning to apply for new subject honor societies should review the qualification grid and only apply if you believe you are eligible. So if you check off all those boxes. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email Mrs. Morris. So last year we were hit with a lot of snow and the underclassmen pictures were canceled. They have been rescheduled to March 9th. So every single person who had an appointment for last week, they were automatically rescheduled to March 9th. So your time slot is the exact same, but if you're now unavailable for whatever reason, or if you had your picture already taken, make sure to cancel your appointment just so everyone can have their pictures taken in the most effective and efficient manner possible. So Model UN is also participating in a national New York Model UN Congress in March. They will be competing virtually and it will be from March 10th through 13th. Interact is hosting a clothing drive to donate to South Brunswick Social Services. FBLA has been very busy. They hosted a Panera fundraiser on February 20th, and they very recently concluded their COVID care collection project. So this project took place over the span of a lot of months, and their basic aim was to uplift the community, and they accomplished this through a ton of different mini projects within it. So they hosted events at a local business, Von Thums, to support the community. They educated middle and high school chapters of COVID's effects on the economy, reaching hundreds of people. They also raised money and donated items such as toothpaste, deodorant, hand sanitizer, and care cards to Capitol Health Hospital. Suffice to say, they really helped make a really positive impact on our community, and I commend them for doing a really great job with that. Girls Who Code are also hosting an IHOP fundraiser on March 5th, and it takes place from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. So Girls Who Code is a new club this year, and they are having a really great and successful year. They just ordered their t-shirts. They're taking on new programming challenges. So if you want to support this great new club, make sure to pop out for their IHOP fundraiser on March 5th. Amnesty International recently hosted their Art for Amnesty Night, and they had a huge turnout. They are going to be giving out the prizes to the winning participants as soon as they can. The SBHS Robotics Club has a really exciting piece of news to share. They are going to be starting a remote online drone competition for all 6 of their teams. And this has been going on since February 15th. So this is a new addition to the club. And as mentioned previously, the entire competition is online, and they're piloting out the program this year. They hope to make it to the World's Championships this year in April. Good luck to them. I'm sure they're going to do great. The Parendell players also have some new exciting information to share. They are gearing up for their spring musical, and this year it is Little Women. It is going to be hosted on May 21st and May 22nd. Now, auditions are due on Wednesday, March 3rd by midnight. And if you have any questions at all, you can just email Miss Trader, who is the organizer of it. Student Council has also been quite busy. We posted our very first podcast episode of Stuco Small Talk. We had our teacher edition this time, so we interviewed Miss Carlisi and Miss Dazinski, and we also interviewed in a part 2 Mr. Dentler and Dr. Neg. It was a really great success. The teachers really loved it. So did the students. It has like a couple hundred views on YouTube. If you want to check it out, make sure to check out our SVHS Student Council YouTube channel, and you'll find it right there. Last board meeting, I mentioned our initiative Palantines, and that also turned out to be very successful. We had around 200 participants, and it was really nice for people who didn't really know each other to meet new people. So that's all I had for the activities section for tonight. And now I'll be talking a little bit about the athletics department. So you're going to be hearing March 1st a lot, and it's a pretty important date. Basically, everything is rolling out next week. So spring sports forms are now being accepted, and they are due no later than March 1st. Season 3 is also beginning March 1st with gymnastics, girls volleyball, and wrestling. Our freshman boys basketball team is going against East Brunswick, and pod tournaments are also beginning the week of March 1st. And ice hockey and boys and girls basketball will be competing. We wish all of our athletes continued success as they compete in their final and for some, their first games of the season. And we're sure they're going to do great. So we just wish them good luck and good health. Thank you so much for your time. That was all I had for tonight.
Thank you, Zara. Appreciate it. Moving along to the report of Superintendent, Mr. Scott Fetter.
Hello, Mister. Welcome, everyone. And we have guests today. Thank you to the 4 members of the public who are in session. You're our first 4 of the year. Thank you. All masked up, I see as well. We appreciate that. So tonight you're going to be seeing a presentation. Again, normally we would have, this place would be full tonight with half of our commended students for National Merit Scholarship. We're going to be doing that through a video again. Mr. Varela and his team put that together. So that'll be coming on. We congratulate them as well. Last meeting, we actually honored the scholarship semifinalists. And the good news is they are now all finalists. They've all advanced. So they're all finalists for the merit scholarships, and that's just awesome for our kids. I think there were 15 of them for that as well. I want to talk to you a little bit about standardized testing. It's been a hot topic in this district for years, and it's going to be a hot topic again. Right now, the Biden administration, how it's being reported, has said they are going to hold standardized testing, hold states to having standardized testing this year. You formerly know it as PARC. It has now changed the name to NJSLA. And as of right now, we are slated to have that assessment. In the education community, we are not too happy with this idea. We do not believe the testing would be reliable or valid or meaningful. As a result, you'll see on tonight's agenda to the board, you'll see a resolution that we are asking the Department of Education, the governor, to complete a waiver to the federal government to allow New Jersey to not perform standardized testing. The reality is, if we were to do standardized testing this year, we would stop all the work we're trying to do to keep our schools safe, keep them open, provide this concurrent synchronous learning, and then have to focus an amazing amount of energy on the technology associated with testing students at home. And as you know, in this district, we have over 80% of our students are home, and there's no plan. I can tell you the Department of Education has no plan at all right now. There's no plan. So that means they're going to be starting to figure out a plan now as to what this would even look like. We have joined the superintendents, the teachers associations, the school boards association. Everyone is joining together to try and convince the Department of Education to continue to fill out this waiver. Tonight, we're asking you to adopt a resolution to ask the governor and the Department of Education to actually do that waiver and maintain the promise the governor made to do the waiver. So he's already stated he will do the waiver. We're hoping that he commits to that even after the Biden administration's decree that they will be holding testing. We still believe there's a chance for the waiver, and we'd like to see that happening. So again, we'll be asking for your support tonight on that, and I want to share that's where we are with that. It's important work ahead, and not that we're against standardized testing. I actually am not against standardized testing. I'm against standardized testing for the sake of standardized testing. It's funny, in the report from the federal government, they acknowledge that the results will be meaningless. They actually acknowledge that, and then still going to say, what? But do it anyway. Again, no thought of what that would mean for a school district, or in this case, an entire country of school districts, to try and manage that. Anyway, better news. Big topics out there, if you're a senior, are graduation, prom, and other end of the year, end of high school experiences. Last year, most of those things were interrupted, and the graduation, which they did a fantastic job, the high school did an amazing job, but it wasn't the graduation that people would have thought about as seniors. This year, we are more hopeful that we'll be able to manage something more similar to what we're used to. Thanks to recent changes in the executive orders for what indoor is allowed, the place where we normally do our graduation, the Cure Center in Trenton, would right now have a capacity of 1,050 under the new orders. That's not enough for us to do a graduation because we have 730 graduates, but it would be enough for us to do multiple if we were ever able to figure that out. So what we just want to say to the board, to our community, is the high school has been working on this since last year. The problem is we are bound by three elements: Department of Education, Department of Health, and governor's executive orders. We cannot violate them, so we have to wait a little while longer. We are still in a holding pattern. The one that looks the most likely to be better than we might have hoped a month ago is graduation. It's the furthest one away, so we're hoping things are continue to improve the way they have been in the COVID world, so that we can do a traditional or close to traditional awesome graduation. The ones that are more concerning or challenging are prom. The dinner cruise has already been moved out as far as it can go, and that one is going to be tough to see, but that's going to depend on a bunch of factors outside of the district's ability and control. So really what I want you to hear is the high school is on it. I know that if you're a graduating senior and family, you just want answers, and I don't blame you, but you're not getting them right now, and that's not a fault of the districts. We just can't make up answers in a time where we're not getting the answers to the basic questions we need. So the unanswered questions from the Department of Ed, Department of Health, and Governor's executive orders make it so we are planning, but we have to wait on final plans. I'm hopeful, though, at least for graduation, I'm hopeful. And to figure out what else could be done if we're not able to do other traditional events, what new traditions could we make? And within the structure of what we're allowed. So I just want our community to hear that. And I know Mr. Varela has sent out information to the students and families in this regard. And commend his team for the work they're doing. They're almost working half blind on this, but it will get done. I will say, I'm part of a reentry team for the state, and they just did ask us a question we'll be discussing tomorrow, and that really was around this topic of if the governor increases certain things, what would it mean for spring activities? So we'll be talking about that, exploring that tomorrow, and making recommendations to the Department of Education, and hopefully they'll listen. That isn't always the case, not always a marriage with what we say and what they hear. But we're hoping that positive things come out of this committee and the work that's being done in the district. So that's kind of my update on that. One of the questions we get asked about right now from the elementary world is about before and after care. To be honest, we're not doing before and after care right now. We're not extending the time our kids are here. We're literally dealing with cases and symptoms daily. And to extend the school day right now for the school is just not something we're looking to do at this moment. However, we are working with an outside agency, and once we get that secured, a little bit later, hopefully in the year, we'll still be able to offer that. But we are 100% offering it next year. I'm going back to that. But for right now, extending the school day for kids, I know it would be very helpful for families, and it's a bit of a conundrum for us to extend more time, more staffing, more people in the buildings, different people in the buildings. It could really mess up the day of school, and we don't want to mess up the day of school for that, but yet we're looking into seeing what might be possible with our new partnership. So if I get more information on that, I will put it out to the community, the elementary schools, and see about a timeline, possibly after spring break. So possibly after spring break, we'll be in position to provide before and after care. Hopefully you all read my latest letter to the community. And to the board, I do apologize for my tone, but you have to understand, you cannot send kids to school with symptoms. You cannot do it. And if I have to get meaner in my next email, I will, but we cannot have it happen. We get rooms completely shut down when this happens. And I know one of the board members asked me, Scott, why did you have to shut down a room just because someone had a symptom or two symptoms? Because those are the rules. They are not our rules, they are the rules of the state. If a child gets sent to school and is in class because they gave them Tylenol in the morning, and by 10:30 the child starts coughing and having a fever or a headache, depending on the classroom and the setting, it's possible that whole classroom will be shut down for 14 days. And that kid will be out for the 14 days or longer. Because if we know that that's happening, we'll make it longer. And that just will be the reality of it. And yes, I get angry about this because we are doing everything we can to keep our schools open and safe. And we just has to be a partnership. Parents have to partner with us on this. So fill out the forms in the morning, check your child's temperature, ask your child how they're feeling, do all of that every single day, and we will keep the schools open. Our staff is doing their part. They are doing everything they possibly can to keep your children safe and to keep themselves safe. We need this partnership. So again, I do apologize for the tone of my last letter, but I am going to also say if I have to be even more harsh in my next one, I will have to be. But we need this partnership. The rules are simple. Right now, a child that comes in with a symptom is treated as a presumptive positive COVID case. That means any child that child might have been in contact with also becomes presumptive, and they are out also. It is a mess. We cannot change those rules. We don't want to change those rules. We want to keep people safe. So again, please, no symptoms. And the second part, if for any reason you take a child to be tested for COVID, that child does not come back to school until those tests are back. PCR test. The rapid test is okay, but it's not reliable. The PCR test, a negative PCR test, your kid can come back to school. Better you do that and take the 2 or 3 days than to risk 14 days for your own child and 14 days for other children and staff. So it's crazy times, but unfortunately, we all need to band together on this topic. And I hope my plea is heard, because it's so important that happens. Okay, so I'm going to get on to the big topic. So tomorrow, we're going to release an email to the community, and we're going to open up the Genesis portal. And what we're doing is we're giving the community another opportunity to select in-person learning. What that means, if you want your child to stay remote, just say, my child's staying remote. That is 100% fine for anybody who does not want their child in person. If your child is currently in person and you want to keep them in person, just say in person. If you're looking to change your mind from either in person to remote or remote to in person, just make that change. That's what we need to know. The reason we need to know now is because we need to know how many students we're going to have in every spot in the district. Once we know, we could then make determinations on the best way to manage the numbers. That's of huge importance. What won't work for us is if you write in person but never send your kid, because that's taking up a seat that could cause another child to not be able to come in to their current class. As per the emails I've sent home multiple times, if it's necessary, we might have to move people to different schools. It just could happen. The other thing that could happen is we might have to cohort students. Right now, we are able to have every student that is selected to be in school 5 days a week. We'd love to be able to continue that, but at the same time, we'd love more kids to be back in school. So it's going to be a potential conundrum if we have too many kids in any one spot who want to come back and we can't fit them, because as of right now, the 6-foot rule is still in play. We can adjust the 6-foot rule, but we're currently not interested in doing that for the safety of our students. The best I can tell everybody is, if you want your student to come back in, which we would love, fill out the form and just put in, I want my child to come back in school after spring break. The change is for after spring break. At that point, we will have a few weeks to review the numbers, because I think we're going to make it due March 10th. After that, we'll have a few weeks to look at the numbers and make any decisions we need to manage the safety, and then the education. Remember what I said, safety, then education. That is the order. So again, you're going to see the survey tomorrow. If you have questions, you can reach out directly to me, you can reach out to your schools, and we'll answer your questions so that you are fully aware of what you are deciding. But it's no different than what we've been decided all year. It's just the start is from after spring break till the end of the year. I've been asked, are we going to open that door again after that? I honestly don't know if we are going to be able to do that, because again, the numbers will determine what we're able to do. We're right now doing as well as we can with the kids coming back, and as I've just said, we need the help of the community to not send in kids who are sick or have symptoms. And then we just keep going about our business. Our teachers are amazing. Our paraprofessionals are amazing. I don't even know how to describe how amazing they are. And I think Jen, where's Jen? There she is. Would say the same thing. I mean, it's just incredible what they're able to do. What a professional group of people. So proud of them. This is very hard. This is not the desired way to go, but it is where we're going to go. I'm going to give you one more piece of information, and then we'll start doing some forums later on in the year. Next year, like magic, I talk about next year. Next year, we don't know what the rules are going to be yet. So it's possible that the governor will mandate that a parent has a choice. It's possible the governor will mandate that parents don't have a choice. It's possible the governor will mandate that the school has a choice. It's possible the governor will say the school doesn't have a choice. We don't know this information yet. However, we have to still plan, budget, prep, and do everything as if we do know the answer to those questions. So once we are firm on that, we will do a few forums explaining what to expect for next year as far as what it looks like. If there's virtual schools, if there's not virtual schools, and what it all means. So more to come on next year, but so I don't confuse, survey is going to come out tomorrow. We'll have till about March 10th, so you have time to think and consider what you want to do with your child after spring break. They can stay home, or they can come into school. And that's pretty much it. There's not a need for any big presentation, no surprises. It's pretty much straightforward. But before I end, I will put it out to the board if anyone does have any questions.
Mr. Federer, I do not have any questions, but I want to thank you for putting out that letter. I think it was needed because all the time that our administration in each building is spending dealing with people not following the rules, it's taking them away from doing their job of putting together an education plan for our students. In addition, parents need to know that if they sign up their child for in-person learning, it's not to send their child in just on days that their child feels like going into school. That again, that puts a lot more pressure on our teachers. It changes the way that they teach. They need to, if they've signed up for in-person, please bring them, but you have to bring them every day that you've signed up for.
Any other questions? No other questions?
All right, thank you, that ends my report. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Zoya, as well, for a good report tonight.
So moving along, am I turning it to Jen first or just going to Peter?
I'll give a quick little introduction for Peter. I think we're
Okay.
going to get to see his mug on the screen again. But Scott mentioned that this is a big night, and I asked Mr. Pulaski how many people we have in attendance over Zoom, and there's over 300 folks at home. So I say welcome to all our families and to our students that we're honoring tonight. This is, again, a presentation for our Merit Scholars. This is one of two. We do this over two segments, and Mr. Varela, again, has let me know that Ramona Baker and Lisa Manganello have helped to put this video together, along with Marianne Murphy. Our own Marianne Murphy has helped with all of the certificates that all you kids will receive. So kudos to you. My board members that are up here, we want to go down to watch the video, and I turn it over to you guys to turn it on. Enjoy.
Following up from our February 11th board meeting, tonight is our second opportunity to honor students virtually for their stellar performance on the PSAT, which is also the qualifying test for the National Merit Scholarship Program. Being recognized by the National Merit Organization is truly one of the most prestigious honors for high school students every year. Now, to refresh our collective memories, I'd like to provide you with a little background about these honors. Every year, the National Merit Scholarship Corporation recognizes the 50,000 members of each graduating class with the highest scores on the PSAT as either semifinalists or commended students. We have 60 commended students to honor this year. Tonight, we will recognize 31 of them, and on March 11th, we will recognize the remaining students. Keeping with our practice, we invited our students to honor an educator who has made a significant impact on their lives. Each student was asked to write a short letter thanking a faculty member. Each teacher will receive, at a later date, a framed letter. In addition, all honorees will receive a certificate of accomplishment from President Barry Nathanson and the Board of Education. Before I start our presentation, I'd like to thank Mr. Norman Chow for selecting a piece of artwork that Bridget Swearigan, a junior at SBHS, created for us. I would also like to thank Ms. Ramona Baker and Ms. Marianne Murphy for their assistance tonight, as well as recognize and thank Ms. Lisa Manganello for editing and creating this amazing video. As we start our program, I thought I'd share some of the colleges and universities that our commended students apply to for admission. Our first spotlight is on Aryan Badgujar. Aryan will be majoring in finance. Tonight, he is honoring Mr. John Lally, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Sachin Bhatt. Sachin will be majoring in mechanical engineering next year. He is honoring Mr. Stephen Dentler, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Rahul Bhatt. Rahul will be majoring in computer science next year. Tonight, he is honoring Dr. Roberto DeBarry, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Romit Balmik. Romit will be majoring in science next year. Tonight, he is honoring Mr. Michael Poot, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Odipto Bose. Odipto will be majoring in economics next year. Tonight, he is recognizing Ms. Janet Bogert, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Ankit Chadha. Ankit will be majoring in chemistry next year. Tonight, he is honoring Ms. Alexandria Robles, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Swayam Chakraborty. Next year, Swayam will be majoring in biotechnology. Tonight, he is honoring Ms. Marisol Ciccone, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Rohan Chandragatki. Rohan will be majoring in biology next year. Tonight, he is honoring Mr. Anthony Grasso, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Zarib Chaudhary. Zarib will be majoring in computer science next year. Tonight, he is honoring Ms. Kelsey Peterson, a teacher at Crossroads North. Our next spotlight is on Shreya Komori. Shreya will be majoring in economics and finance next year. Tonight, she is honoring Ms. Karen Hunt, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Sandeep Das. Sandeep will be majoring in biomedical engineering next year. Tonight, he would like to honor Mr. Andre Hala, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Arnav Dam. Arnav will be majoring in economics and sociology next year. Tonight, he would like to honor Mr. Mark Babbage, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Mithiel Duty. Mithiel will be majoring in business next year. Tonight, he would like to honor Mr. Ramon Quinones, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Ashley Foy. Ashley will be majoring in computer science next year. Tonight, she would like to honor Mr. Matt Miller, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Jayshree Ganguly. Jayshree will be majoring in computer science next year. Tonight, she would like to honor Mr. Kyle Brancato, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Akul Bokaram. Akul will be majoring in computer science next year. Tonight, he would like to honor Mr. Gordon Barnes, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Kushi Gupta. Kushi will be majoring in computer science next year. Tonight, she would like to honor Mr. Peter Honig, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Sasha Gupta. Sasha will be majoring in biomedical engineering next year. Tonight, she would like to honor Ms. Judith Lebovich, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Aryani Gurger. Aryani will be majoring in biomedical engineering next year. Tonight, she would like to honor Ms. Crystal Burnett, science chair and teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Sophia Iqbal. Sophia will be a business and political economy major next year. Tonight, she would like to honor Ms. Anastasia Marcella, a counselor at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Disha Jain. Disha will be a biochemistry major next year. Tonight, she would like to honor Ms. Megan Baskakow, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Angeline James. Angeline will be majoring in biomedical engineering next year. Tonight, she would like to honor Ms. Dana Armstrong, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Richard Jerry. Richard will be majoring in computer science next year. Tonight, he would like to honor Ms. Jennifer Fava, a teacher at Crossroads North. Our next spotlight is on Anvi Joshi. Anvi will be majoring in psychology next year. Tonight, she would like to honor Ms. Kristen Borsey, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Dhruv Kalra. Dhruv will be majoring in computer engineering next year. Tonight, he would like to honor Ms. Taralyn Berniston, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Shreyas Kanwar. Shreyas will be majoring in biology next year. Tonight, he would like to honor Mr. Sergio Fossa, a teacher at Crossroads South. Our next spotlight is on Rachit Kandalwal. Rachit will be majoring in computer science next year. Tonight, he would like to honor Mr. Ryan Fisher, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Hema Kolavenu. Hema will be majoring in computer science next year. Tonight, she would like to honor Ms. Samantha Saldana Kucharam, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Lakit Krishnam. Lakit will be majoring in finance next year. Tonight, he would like to honor Mr. John Noble, a teacher at the high school. Our next spotlight is on Kirthana Krishnamurthy. Kirthana will be majoring in biology next year. Tonight, she would like to honor Mr. Scott Lawrence, a teacher at the high school. Our next and final spotlight for this evening is on Skyla Kian. Skyla will be majoring in economics next year. Tonight, she would like to honor Mr. Scott Wasaki, a teacher at the high school. To conclude my virtual presentation, I would like to now share with you a few quotations directly from the letters that were written to our staff members, though I wish I could share and read every single letter to you. You have helped me not only to develop my game, but also develop as a person. Your enthusiasm and dedication to teaching has left a lasting impression on me. Thank you for your mentorship. It has truly made a significant difference in my life. I sincerely appreciate the effect you have had on me. It has shaped my academic pursuits and goals for the better. And lastly, I would like to thank you for everything you have done to help me become the student I am today. Faculty, our students are proud to call you their teachers and know that you make a difference each and every day. Another group that makes a difference each and every day is our parent group. I'd like to honor our students' parents tonight for their hard work and support. Finally, we have a truly talented group of students being recognized virtually tonight. It's important to note that our honorees aren't just high achievers when it comes to the PSAT. They are effective leaders, talented musicians, accomplished athletes, and much, much more. Again, congratulations, commended students, honored teachers, and their parents. This concludes tonight's presentation. Please join me in a virtual round of applause for them.
Thank you, Mr. Varela, and thank the students, and I want to thank the parents for their hard work with their students, with their sons or daughters. This is usually one of the best nights. We love to present things to our students, and we haven't done that in over a year. So everything has been virtual, but we do such a good virtual job. It's tough to say anything. So Jen, do you want to? You have any closing statement or?
No, just a big thank you, and we look forward to honoring the next group at our next meeting. So thank you, President.
Okay. Very good. Moving on, Mr. Pulowski, we have the financial audit report from 2019 to 2020.
Yes, we do.
Is one of our auditors on?
Yes, we have Warren is with us from Suppley Clooney and Company. I would agree, Mr. Nathanson, that this is an amazing night. It's one of the most exciting nights that we're ever going to experience because we get to honor the kids for their great accomplishments, but we also get to listen to the audit and how awesome our office, the business office, did last year with regards to the 6,500, get that, 6,500 purchase orders that we process on an average every year. So yes, it's a very exciting night, I would agree. I've got Warren on the call, and Warren, if you want to take it over, feel free. Everybody has the auditor's management report, and they also have a copy of the CAFRA. Yes, here you are.
Now, this is Paul. I'm not sure what happened to Warren. I can handle it though. Good evening. My name's Paul Frieda. I'm an audit manager with Suppley Clooney. I'm assuming Warren is out there. He's the managing partner on the job. We completed your June 30th, 2020 audit, and we've issued 2 reports. Like you said, you should have received both of them. One is the CAFRA and one is the auditor's management report. I'd like to talk about the auditor's management report first. It's required by the Department of Education, and it outlines the different areas of compliance that we audit. These areas include payroll, the records of the board secretary and treasurer, grants, purchasing, food service, student activity accounts. So it's a pretty comprehensive audit. If there were any recommendations as a result of our testing, they'd be included in this report. And I'm happy to inform the board that there were no recommendations in this year's audit. The second report is the CAFRA, which includes the district's financial statements and our opinion on those statements. The district received an unmodified opinion, which means that your financial statements are presented fairly in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. There's a lot of schedules in the report, basically just presenting your financial position in different formats. The one that we kind of like to hone in on is the C1, which shows your budgetary revenues and expenditures against the actual results. It acts as a profit and loss statement. So you can use this to kind of see where you had surplus funds and how you did with your revenues. For the year, the district did have a $4.6 million increase in fund balance. So you had started the year with about $20,100,000, and you ended the year with $24,722,000. That fund balance is broken into different categories. Most of it's already been reserved for different items such as capital reserve, maintenance reserve, and an emergency reserve. And then also there's 2 components for excess surplus. So your excess surplus, which is the amount that you have to use for your 21-22 budget that you're going to be working on, is $4,026,000. And your unassigned fund balance, which is kind of like your 2%, is $3,540,000. Yeah, I'd like to thank Dave for all their help this year. His office was very helpful, and we did a lot of remote work, so there was a lot of uploading to our Google Drive. But Kim and the whole staff was very, very helpful.
Hey, Dave, can you hear me now?
I can, Warren. Thank you for joining. If you want to chime in, please.
I was here. You did give us a great intro, and I'm trying to talk, but I couldn't. For some reason, it was unmuted, so I apologize for that. But Paul just did an excellent job. I would just like to echo his. Just thank you for all your help. I mean, it was just a very difficult year with the situation with the COVID-19. And I'd also like to thank the board. I usually thank the board for the appointment because we do appreciate the business. But your financial condition is very healthy. Your surplus is excellent. Like I said, Paul you did a nice presentation, Paul. Thank you. I could hear everybody talking. I could hear everybody, but I couldn't speak back. So I just apologize for that, but everything went fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Paul. If there's nothing else, we could move on.
Thank you. Thank you to our auditors. Thank you, Mr. Pulaski, and your staff for another great year. Moving along, we have on the agenda the first reading of a few dozen different policies that were mandatory by the state of New Jersey. I don't know if you want to say something, Mr. Pulaski, or you want me to just turn it over to Mrs. Mehta.
No, Mrs. Mehta, the chair of the policy committee.
Okay.
Is able.
Mrs. Mehta, Joyce, you are new chair of our policy committee. Do you want to say something about the policies that are up for first reading?
The policy committee of the board, which comprises of myself, Joyce Mehta, and Mr. Rajakrishna, Mr. Mike Mitchell, we actually met on Wednesday, the 17th of February, and reviewed 2 Strauss-Esme alerts that are included in tonight's agenda for first reading. Of the many policies we reviewed, most notable were those associated with our current pandemic environment. Policy 0164 outlined remote public board meetings during a declared emergency, and 1643 family leave, which was updated to include 24 months of FMLA. Also noted in this update is the state's requirement to have lead testing in our schools, policy number 7425, and for that to occur every 3 years instead of every 6 years. Our business office will have to adhere to some new regulations regarding policy 6470, the electronic funds transfer and claimant certification. This policy requires board certification of electronic funds transfers, as well as the creation of internal controls to mitigate the potential for fraud and abuse. Policies that impact our school environments include policy 2431, athletic competitions, outlines requirements to participate, and seizure action plans that require school nurses to develop and disseminate plans as necessary. Finally, the change from No Child Left Behind, to Every Student Succeeds Act, which is commonly known as ESSA, required a litany of language changes in approximately 10 policies, all of which are listed in our board update and on our portal for review. If anyone has any questions, please reach out to Mr. David Pulaski or myself, joyce.mehta@sbschools.org, for any questions or feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Appreciate it. Again, that's first reading, so it's on your portal. So if you have any questions, please email Joyce and CC David. Thank you. Moving along to public comments. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. Complete copies of the rules that govern the portion of the meeting are available to the public at the back of the room, or you can obtain an advance copy by contacting the board office during regular business hours. We reserve the right to limit each speaker to no more than 3 minutes. It is our plan to listen to each member of the public. We will note all questions and comments made. Once all questions and comments from all members of the public are made, the Board of Education will respond if necessary to questions or comments in most timely and efficient manner available. Please consider not repeating comments and questions made by other members of the public. I ask that you state your name, place of residence, or your group affiliation. Mr. Pulaski, anyone please sign up?
Well, Mr. Nathanson, today we had a little bit of a technology glitch with
Okay.
our registrations for the public, or for the meeting tonight. So I'm going to announce if anybody's registered to speak, if you registered to speak on our online system in the Google Drive, please raise your hand now, because there was a little bit of glitch on that, and we're concerned that it didn't come through the way it was supposed to. So anybody who is registered to speak, or please raise your hand, and we'll get to you. We have somebody here in the public that would like to address the board. So we'll have that person speak first.
Please state your name and address, please, sir.
Hello, board members, parents, and students. My name is Sai, and I reside 1802 Dahlia Circle, Dayton. And my daughter is 11th grader in SBHS. First of all, let me thank you all for the time given to me to express my family's anguish. My child has been constantly bullied, cyberbullied by some miscreants for almost a year and a half. My daughter was torn up and devastated due to this. It even affected her studies and health. We had brought this issue to the notice of the school management in the past, and action was taken on this matter, and the tormenting subsided. She had to go through several coaching sessions, and also from school. I appreciate the school staff, Ms. Cara Henderson, in supporting and guiding us and my daughter. I think the remote schooling also kind of helped the situation, and the tormenting had subsided until this resurfaced again. Recently, on the 12th of February, when a staff member published a Google form which was open for public to edit, and the miscreants took the opportunity and edited the form and acted as rowdies and have posted some derogatory comments in which others were also implicated in these comments. We strongly condemn these kinds of acts from miscreants, and these also affect the students for life, psychologically for life, and in some cases. This was brought to the staff's attention by someone, and the form was taken down. But knowing kids and social media these days, the word spreads like wildfire, and some kids took screenshots of the content before the school decommissioned the page. This may be funny to some of the kids who took screenshots for malintent or to just gossip or spread the message as fun, but the person who has been targeted and her family are the ones who suffer. I had reached out to Mr. Peter and requested him to figure out who did this and bring them to task. I strongly urge and hope that the staff will be better trained, and every article being published is proofread and have an approval process in place for a cross-check to avoid this kind of occurrence in the future. We hope to see the miscreants caught and punished strictly for their acts of cowardice and malintent, and an example made so that no other child in future has to face these situations. Unfortunately, in today's world, some kids are losing the gist of being empathetic and being compassionate to fellow human beings. I know my daughter is a fighter and will try to overcome this troublesome incident and will guide others too, but sometimes these things scar kids for life. As an extremely concerned parent, we humbly request the board to take ownership and investigate the matter and take stern action on those responsible immediately and communicate the course of action to us. My hands are just shivering because of what we have gone through, and it's been tormenting for my daughter. I mean, she's a very strong girl, but she wakes up at nights and just comes over and starts crying. So this is. Thank you all for your effort.
Just want to, 1 second, Barry?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Sai has been communicating with the school, and I'll say, Sai, you know, you could have said a lot worse. You held it together. If you know, I shared at our last meeting a similar situation of horrific behavior, of cyberbullying during the funeral of one of our students. And now we're here again 2 weeks later. And while this incident happened, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, Si?
Yes, on the 12th of February.
Yeah, so about two weeks ago. We're back here again, and the challenge that we're having, the police are having, is finding the miscreants, these people that are doing this and completely missing it. We have to step up our game as a school district, start earlier to figure out how to get kids to realize, I like the words empathy, and to realize the damage this does. Sai mentioned he was coming tonight. I didn't know you were coming in person. I'm glad you were able to come in person, and very sorry for this. And we will not stop. And I hope we're able to find, you know, the culprits for this. We'll work with the police, and we'll hopefully be able to do that. Again, my apologies on behalf of the district, and I truly hope our families can work with their children, and we have to do a job in our school district. So I put that on us to try and get under the skin of students younger to realize the damage it could cause by this level of cyberbullying. So again, Cy, thanks for coming out tonight and sharing with the board and our community the importance of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Feder, and I do apologize. And mark my word that, you know, Mr. Feder is true to his word, and we'll work with the police and find the culprit. Thank you. Moving along, I know there's other people in the audience. Does anyone here would like to speak? No? Then anyone at home?
Yes, we have 3.
Okay, go ahead.
First up, Akash Kanan.
Hello, everybody in South Brunswick School District and South Brunswick Township. My name is Akash Kanan. I'm a resident of Monmouth Junction, New Jersey, a member of the South Brunswick High School class of 2018 and a current Rider University student. I would like to tell the great news. The great news is that I'm still able to continue at Rider University, and I am able to be part of SGA, and I'm doing well in my classes. I got a passing grade on my international management course that I took during J term at Rider University. And everyone should be proud of that. I also want to tell that congrats to all the National Merit Commended students for South Brunswick High School class of 2021, because I'm friendly with all of them, and kudos go to them and their parents. And well done to the first group.
Thank you, Akash.
Next.
Next up, we have, is it Jerry? Jerry, you here? All right. Next up, we have
Hello. My name is Akash Kanan, and I'm not going to be repeating comments.
Sorry. Tina, you're up.
It's actually her husband, Eric Schlesinger.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Akash Kanan.
We're done. Go ahead, Tina, you're up.
Thank you. I have a daughter who's a member of the class of 2021 at the high school, and I'd like to thank the board and Mr. Feder for their information about what they're trying to do with respect to this year's seniors class, and I understand the challenges that you're up against. But I also think there's another issue that I think the board and Mr. Feder should be aware of. Last year, when our schools first shut down in March due to the pandemic, there was a strong support from the community, the school district, for the class of 2020 to ensure that as much of their milestones could be reached and addressed. And I'm very proud to say that the board and the school district worked very hard. But I think something is going unnoticed a little bit, and that is the disparate impact that this pandemic has had on the class of 2021. The class of 2021 were juniors in March of 2020 when the school district first shut down. They have not had any of their milestones that the seniors from last year, class of 2020, did. There was no junior prom. There were no junior events. All of those were canceled as a result of the pandemic. This year, for the class of 2021, their senior year started off with the schools being closed and hybrid not actually occurring, unfortunately, until February of this year. They have not had one milestone, not one senior event. And I think that, and understanding the challenges that the administration and the district are up against, that we start trying to be a little more, and I understand you're being proactive, but creative in trying to get some of these milestones met, and maybe doing different types of activities for the senior class versus some of the traditional ones. You know, we talked about the dinner cruise. Obviously, there are capacity limits, but I think there are other activities that we as a community can perform that will help honor this year's senior class and help them achieve those milestones. And I would hope that the district would start considering them. You know, if we're going to have capacity problems with graduation, maybe we look for an outdoor stadium like Riverfront Park to have an outdoor graduation. or potentially using our high school stadium and maybe doing it in 2 ceremonies there if we can't be inside. In terms of potentially proms or dinner cruise, maybe we start looking in ways to hold those at outdoor events at some of our schools, park facilities, or different facilities around the state to give these kids a chance to at least be together for one last time and celebrate their senior year. So I want to thank you for your time, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. We'll give one more time to Jerry.
Hello. Hey, my name is Giri. I live in Dayton, South Brunswick. Thank you very much for school teach. My kid is in middle school, and he's going to the in-person when it has been started. And it was maintained very well. Like he was happy to go to the school, and then he's enjoying the school, going at least 3-4 hours, and then he's coming back. And every day, like the way the process is handling is a really good way. And my question is, right, like, is there any way like a school can able to disable few websites or anything? My son is using the school Chromebook. Is there any way can we disable or can we buy a software to control any other websites or something from the school?
I would suggest you reach out to our technology director, Sharon Johnson, at sharonjohnsonsbschools.org.
As well as the principal. You can also copy me on that email so we can see what we can provide, okay?
Yeah, I spoke to the principal, assistant principal also. And I understand from his point of view also because they cannot control each and every website or something. But I asked them like a few things like, is there anything we can do it better? And then I went in the office and then I spoke to him also, assistant principal. He's very nice and then he explained things. And then, yeah, but is there anything, because it's not about one kid, right? It's about the entire school district where we need to have to control on the software level, not like in the human person. Teachers are doing good also. I cannot ask the principal or the school, but as the school district, we need to do something like to control at the school level itself or the district level.
Thank you for your comment. Last up is Gisele Diaz. Gisele Diaz.
Hi, can you hear me?
Ms. Diaz?
Can you hear me?
We sure can.
Hi, my daughter goes to elementary school and she's a in-person student right now. And I do have to say the staff is very thorough and careful. But I've been asking this past week to my daughter if the school's been taking the temperature, and she says to me that there are days that they do not take the temperature. And actually, when I spoke today to the school nurse, she told me that they spot check. And for me, that is a concern because as far as I know, that's not in a part with the CDC guidelines.
Thank you for your comment. There's no other hands raised. We can close public session. Barry, you can move on.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Moving along, board committee reports. I know there's a few board committees that met prior to this evening. Ray, you want to speak about budget?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The Budget Committee did meet on February the 22nd. Members that were present were myself as the chairperson, Raja Krishna as board member, Board President Nathanson, David Polowski, Kimberly Malloy-White, and Superintendent Scott Federer. It wasn't an in-depth meeting, but we did go over, David presented to us some of the scenarios as far as tax levy are concerned and some of the revenue projections. It really was a first draft of a possible proposed budget. There is no action items taken at the meeting. We were waiting for the state to release their funding, which came out just a day or two ago, so we will have more updates later.
Thank you,
Just add
Mr. Keenan, go ahead. Go ahead,
really
Mr.
quick
Fett.
that, at our next meeting on March 11th, we'll be having a full budget presentation for the initial budget, which happens prior to adoption. So it's preliminary budget, which will present the budget committee again, led by Mr. Keeney. Mr. Keener will be on March 8th, and we'll be going over that budget with the committee. At that time, we'll have enough information from the state. We did get state aid numbers. We're making sure we're checking those very closely to see that they're correct. And then we'll be ready and prepared for March 11th for the board.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mrs. Rogers, go ahead.
Yeah, so the curriculum committee met prior to this meeting, and the members are myself, Smitha Raj, and Joyce Mehta. We are the 3 board members that have been appointed to this year's curriculum committee. Scott was present, Jen was present, as well as Barry. We do not have an update yet, but we will probably have an update at the next meeting. We basically reset ourselves and identified some of our goals that we want to achieve this year, and we'll be ready to present next meeting. Thank you.
Mrs. Rogers. Joyce? Oh, Joe. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say thank you to Todd and Brian, their team, as well as the janitors for all their hard work these last few weeks with the snow removal. It's been a tough couple of weeks with snow, but I just want to thank them. I appreciate all their hard work they've been doing on that and trying to get these schools open. Thank you.
Okay. Mrs. Mehta, I know you had a policy meeting, obviously, from all the updated policies. I don't know if you want to say something or not.
I just want to say that the policy, as I say, the policy committee that I chair, of course, are the members that I had mentioned earlier, but it was also attended by our president, Mr. Nathanson, and by Scott Feder, David Pulowski. Just want to say thank you and acknowledge their attendance at the last meeting.
Thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead.
Joe brought up our B&G crew. It's nice to have a good partnership also with our local districts. At one point, one of our local districts needed a little bit of support, and they nicely repaid, unnecessarily, but nicely repaid us with some extra salt. So a little quid pro quo this winter. And Joe, the reason the guys are so strong this year, they got a break last year. There was no snow. So they were all ready for this year. And they did a fantastic job. You are correct. They were amazing. So let's hope they're done. But they were fantastic.
And I will agree, those shared services are a great thing.
They're definitely done, Mr. Fetter. So,
Yeah, we'll take it.
So I have a connection with the guy upstairs.
All right.
So. Moving along, I want a motion to move the consent agenda for this evening. Can I get a motion? Moved by Mr. Keener. I have a second. Yeah.
After the second.
After the second, you make a comment. Okay, Dr. Parker?
One day I'll get it.
Okay.
day I'll figure it
Now you can make a comment.
Okay,
Mr.
one day I'll figure that out. I just wanted to comment on the agenda item 1.12, which is in regard to the standardized testing, which Superintendent Feder had talked about. I also want to make a comment about the fact that there's many other organizations, including Save Our Schools New Jersey, that's the parent grassroots organization, which I am a member of, full disclosure, that we are supporting this resolution. I think it's important that we recognize, as Mr. Feder said, that not only the Superintendent's Association supporting it, but it's being supported at state and national levels, as well as many educational associations. And we are also, Save Our Schools New Jersey is trying to push and request support at the U.S. Congressional Legislature, both the House and Senate legislators, hoping that they will support our efforts as well. It's important that our leaders, if they claim to care about mental health of students, pushing standardized testing during a pandemic is not the most appropriate thing to do. So I'm asking that this board support agenda item 1.12, because again, the last thing our students need is to lose instructional time to take a test that will not yield valid or reliable data. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Rogers. Can I get a roll call now, Mr. Pulaski?
Mr. Rajakrishna?
Present?
Yes or no?
Yes.
There you go. Mr. Ray Keener?
Aye.
Ms. Joyce Mehta? Yes. Mr. Mike Mitchell?
Yes.
Dr. Stephen Parker?
Yes.
Dr. Smita Raj? Yes. Mrs. Lisa Rogers? Yes. Mr. Joseph Scaletti? Yes. Mr. Barry Nathanson?
Yes, and I also want to mention tonight, on the agenda, we're approving several human resources issues, and one of them is the retirement of longtime Secretary Ann Barringer. She's retiring after 29 years, so I want to wish her the best. She was Secretary. Her last assignment has been Secretary at Brunswick Acres, but she's been inside the main building, the administration building, and been in several other schools, so I want to wish her the best. Thank you. I mean, my vote is yes. So the motion passes. Okay, moving along. The other part of my agenda. Okay. Move along to board comments and communications. Anybody have? Mrs. Rogers.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm also asking or submitting to the board a resolution to be reviewed and added to the March 11th meeting. And this resolution is requesting that the South Brunswick Board of Education requests that Governor Murphy and his administration take proactive steps to protect the health and safety and educational progress of New Jersey schools by immediately authorizing the need for by immediately authorizing as a high priority the need to vaccinate our New Jersey educators, including teachers, paraprofessionals, staff, and administrators who are currently not considered eligible by current COVID vaccine requirements. Currently, educators in surrounding states have been eligible to receive this vaccine for weeks. So I'm asking that this particular resolution be added to the consent agenda for next week. Next meeting, March 11th. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other comments? Seeing none, I just have a couple comments. I just, again, you know, I appreciate Mr. Scaletti thanking our hardworking crews out there. They did a phenomenal job. That the one storm was a foot or more, and once they finished and you went around, it was amazing. It was like it never snowed. So I want to again thank Brian and his crew and everybody else that worked, custodians and such. You know, I have to, like I do every meeting, thank Scott Fetter, David Pulaski, Kim White, and Jen Desler, our senior staff, because during COVID in the last year, they should get combat pay. That doesn't mean you're going to get it, but you should get combat pay. So I appreciate all your hard work, and I want to thank you. Thank the board for, again, our second meeting in the public and being live. It does make a difference. I know it makes a difference for me to run a meeting, and to see you guys in person is meaningful to us and the community. So I want to thank you for coming out this evening. Moving along, can I get a motion, before I adjourn, can I get a motion to move to executive? Motion. Moved by Mrs. Meadow, I have a second. Second by Mrs. Rogers. Dr. Yes, Rogers said yes too. So, I just so be it resolved that the Board of Education, Township of South Brunswick, hereby moves to go into executive session in accordance with Sunshine Law, Chapter 231 of Public Laws of 1975, NJSA 1046 through 10421, to discuss the following, and it's to discuss negotiations. Be it resolved, the discussion conducted in an executive session can be disclosed to the public at such time as the matters have been resolved. Formal action may be taken at any time. Can I get a motion to adjourn to go to executive then? Moved by Mrs. Meadow, second by Mr. Keno. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Good night, South Brunswick. Please stay safe.